Hello everyone. Today we're going to show you how to quickly build a presentation with charts using clues. For our example, we're going to use mtcars.csv, a famous dataset featuring cars from the 70s. I'm not sure where I originally downloaded this CSV file, but just Google it and you'll find it on plenty of websites, including this GitHub repository. The dataset contains 13 fields and 32 records. You can find an explanation of the field names here. Okay, let's open a Clues HTML file from my hard drive. This is a plain HTML file with no data in it yet. Now let me drag and drop the CSV file onto it. Clues immediately opens the workspace. In the Overview tab, you can see that Clues has already suggested a few charts for the dataset. But hold on. Clues also noticed that some fields might be more useful if we treated them as categorical. Even though they contain numerical values, it identified SIL, VS, and AM, as well as, of course, manufacturer and model. We could go to the Fields tab and change the type of each field individually, but we're just going to click Convert All to Categorical. See how Clues changed the number of suggested charts from 5 to 7? Let's just open them all. We're now in the Graph Types tab, looking at charts in the Relationships category. The first one is a scatter plot showing weight versus displacement. The points are grouped by engine shape, 1 for a V-shaped engine and 0 for a straight engine. Clues has also given us a short comment explaining why the chart might be useful and suggesting a few variations we could try. Next, we have a bubble chart. It's basically the same idea, except that the data points now get larger based on horsepower. Then we have a scatter matrix, showing some of the most interesting relationships between our numerical fields. For example, we can see a negative slope here between miles per gallon and displacement. By the way, these chart comments are generated only once before the charts are created. Feel free to replace them afterward with your own observations. These are not the notes that will appear in presentation mode. Also, just a quick note, at the end of each chart group, we have a dynamic table containing some basic statistics for that group. For example, if we remove the grouping by engine shape from the scatter matrix, you can see that the table now contains far fewer rows. Now about the workspace layout. Switching to 2 columns can help make the workspace a little more compact. Let's duplicate the first scatter plot and use the copy to show the relationship between displacement and miles per gallon. And let's update the note accordingly. As we scroll down, you can see that Clues has automatically moved us into another group of charts, the distributions charts. And farther down, we reach the comparisons charts, including this sunburst chart. Now let's switch to presentation mode and see what we have. As you can see, these are basically the same charts, but without all the distracting panels from the workspace. Still, the presentation is looking pretty bare. We could edit it manually by clicking this pencil button. Then, using the chart's contextual menu, we could add a presentation note. But we're feeling lazy today, so we're going to use an external LLM to write the story for us. Clues does not use AI to produce the charts, but Clues can become a tool for your LLM. How? When you click AI Context, Clues copies some information to the clipboard. This includes an explanation of what Clues can do, the format it expects for instructions, and some basic statistics about the data in the current session. You can even let your LLM see the charts by clicking Contact Sheet PNG. This creates a single-tiled image containing all the charts. All right, let's load the information into the clipboard and head over to Gemini. Now, we're feeling super lazy today, and I already have a Gemini gem set up to handle this type of request. You can find my prompt in the GitHub repository. Using the same prompt helps me maintain a consistent presentation style and theme. Here we're going to ask Gemini 3.1 Pro to generate instructions for a presentation aimed at a class of mechanical engineers. We'll paste in the contents of the clipboard and attach the tiled image of the charts. So we're doing a little more than simply styling the charts. We're asking the LLM to build the story and modify the charts for us. In another video, we'll look at how clues can help you generate a series of charts to test a hypothesis. We'll also see how it can explain what changes were made to an embedded dataset after the original dataset was uploaded. Okay, Gemini is done. The response includes some JSON, which is the instruction format Clues expects, as well as a few comments intended for you. Clues will simply ignore those comments. Copy the entire response to the clipboard, then head back to Clues and click AI Import, then Validate and Build. One note, in Firefox, you'll need to manually paste the response into this box before clicking the button. Chrome is asking for permission to access the clipboard. Let's allow it. We now get a green confirmation showing that Clues successfully processed the instructions, and we can click Done. If you receive an error, copy that error into your LLM and see whether it can fix the instructions. You can also open a ticket on GitHub. Notice that the dataset group now includes an AI Responses tab. This is where you can find the history of your LLM interactions. These changes are also reversible. Okay, back in the workspace, we can already see that the first chart has more descriptive captions, along with a few annotations. Let's switch to presentation mode. Let me move the legend a little and increase the height of the chart. We'll do the same thing for the next few slides. Gemini ignored the scatter matrix, so let's remove that slide. And let's exclude the sunburst chart from the presentation. Now let me move the presentation note toward the top left corner and make the chart a little wider. We'll do the same thing on the next slide. We're going to use the alignment markers to make sure that our text boxes and charts remain aligned from one slide to the next. Now let's add a few pictures to the presentation. I'm trying to add a picture, but I first need to add the image files to the current session. Now I can add an image to the first slide. And another one to the second slide. All right, I'm happy with this presentation. Let's duplicate the first slide to create a variation. And this time we'll group the data by number of cylinders. Okay, now let's display the statistics table in the presentation. Cool. Now, let's see how we can export the presentation. First, we'll export it as a PDF. Then we'll export it in PowerPoint format. Note that the background is controlled through the slide master, so you can edit it there. The charts are exported as SVGs, which means you can convert them into editable shapes in PowerPoint. Of course, you can also share the entire app and the current session as a single file by clicking Share. This option works best when your recipient doesn't already have clues. They can later remove the session data to create a lean copy containing only the app. Or you can send a clue session file, which anyone with the Clues app can load. The clue file is the smallest option. All right, folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more updates, and happy data exploring.